Blog Talk Radio.
Today's episode of Video Marketing Madness is made possible by Aweber, the easy way to create newsletters and send out messages to all of your customers and clients. Want to start email marketing today? Then head on over to raythevideoguy.com/Aweber. And on today's episode, we have a very special guest. And you may recall a couple of weeks ago, we had Terry on, and now we've got, as Terry mentioned, Curtis. So, Curtis, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
So it's all in the family this week, and we got a lot of cool stuff to discuss. And this one, last time, was a little bit more about general web marketing, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about video, so should be exciting stuff.
So stick around for that.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.
It's the online marketing radio show, Video Marketing Madness with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper. You can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Video Marketing Madness and get plenty of useful tips and news of the week. We're live Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can join the conversation at 818-369-1423. We got tip of the week coming up at the end of the show, and I think Curtis is going to have our tip of the week this week. And our guest today is Curtis Melancon, who is scary smart with YouTube stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, really, there's a lot of stuff that comes in, like you were saying, the video and the marketing. And in the last show, Terry was talking about, and he was talking about the basic fundamental stuff. But really what it comes down to is what I specialize in is getting those videos ranking on multiple different keyword phrases, even if you think that keyword phrase is not going to be a video going to be able to be ranked on that keyword phrase. So,
nice.
But before I do that, explaining all that stuff and, making a clearer picture, I'd like to kind of, give a little bit background of where I started and what I'm doing. And by the way, I'm only 25, so I'm a young cat in the industry, but at the same time,
my barbecue grill's older than you.
Yeah. Well, so really, I mean,
go ahead and do that, and then we'll do news of the week. That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, really, what it comes down to is like what you guys and everybody else I'm meeting on the internet are. It's kind of like a learning thing. But for me, this is kind of like where I grew up in. I grew up with technology and video games and the internet. And it's kind of funny because I believe it was 99. I was in second grade or something like that. And my dad brought home 2 new computers because there's AOL 4.0 now. So we got 2 phone lines at home. So we're going way back now. So I was just a little, whippersnapper, and I think there's like some video games on the computer, so I was stuck on the computer always since I was home all the time. But then what happens in 2002, we're going to speed up here, around 6th grade is when I got my own personal PC, which is Windows, I would like to say. And that's where I kind of, got into, figuring out Photoshop and, any type of, well, at the time, it wasn't really video yet because it was still kind of a high production. So in that time, I got really involved into figuring out how to manipulate the dashboards, the computer, the windows, and, being custom, like most PC users become. But then there's something called the Xbox Live came out. And that's where it all started. It all started basically with one video game. There's a guy who was able to do a specific task or something that was not normal to the game. So I just kept following and bothering him. How are you able to do that? How are you able to do that? And he goes, well, just do a Google search for this name and you'll find my website and all this other stuff. So then I became his friend. And he showed me how to learn how to code for the Xbox. And in that process, he was explaining how to code PC files, which is very, very similar to Xbox files. So basically, I became a coder. So between the years 2003 and 2004, which is the year of the Xbox Live first came out, I decided, well, there's a lot of people at school who are all about the internet at the time that was just booming and getting in, and this is, in my time, middle school. So I was kind of figuring out where I was and what I'm going to do with my life, and I just decided, no, I'm going to be the gamer that knows everything about the internet. And so really what it came down to is, in time, I was able to know how to do little tricks here and there with the first original Xbox, to where you could get old video games onto the Xbox hard drive. So from there, I then created training sources. I went to a seminar down in Laguna Beach, and I was able to train on how to make an ebook on how to do these tricks with the first Xbox. And that's where it all started, my internet marketing, everything, okay? So then it came to the point where then shortly after that time, in high school, I would like to say my sophomore year, which is around 2006, I realized that nobody's doing video on how to do video tutorials on doing exactly what I was doing with the Xbox. So I started doing video tutorials and started creating the ebook and to go along with it and have a training course. And then YouTube started coming out. Google bought YouTube. Oh, my gosh. So then there goes the whole idea. Somebody could buy the whole entire course because of the video. Well, people started doing exactly, because I was teaching people how to do it online at the time. So people then will take it into their own hands and start videotaping it and uploading it to YouTube. Here's how to do it for free. And I'm like, oh, there goes that idea. So I couldn't actually monetize my tricks on the Xbox. So it's okay. In that time, I was like, well, if that's evolving so rapidly, I might as well just do exactly what I was trying to do for myself for other people. So it was probably around my senior year in high school. That was 2008. I decided, well, since I was able to provide my teachers, my let's say art teacher, my video teacher, and all this other, my TV show class teacher, with a No Kid Left Behind program that George Bush was implementing, where you could create an ROP class and get $10,000, no question asked. So all of our teachers signed up for those classes. They all
Oh, no, that was me. I was messing around with my microphone.
Okay.
Don't ever do that again.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what does this do? I was listening, by the way.
No worries. But really what it comes down to is in that grant that the government funded our teachers for the RLP classes, the $10,000 opened up a window for not just me, but for everybody else that goes to the school. So I took it in my own hands. I said, listen, we need IMAX, we need HD cameras. Those are brand new. They just came out. The SLRs for photos, and we need wireless mics and some speakers for our presentations. So in that purchasing experience, I was able to then go, okay, well, this is essentially building a business, but it's a television production class at the school, and I got to use all the state-of-the-art cutting-edge technology, which is now to us standard today. So in that process, I was like, well, I'm still a senior in high school, and there's a few bands at the school, so I was like, well, no, I could sell HD music videos, because HD was the first thing that YouTube was able to do, and nobody else had HD video. So I was selling that as my sales point. Then it evolved into, well, bands don't really pay the bills and all that other stuff. So then I go, well, you know what? I'm going to start trying this with a local business and start seeing if I could get it ranking on the social media sites, because social media was just booming. It was right after MySpace fell down and Facebook started to regain its, spot to stay. So then my friend, he had a pond maintenance company where he would go around and maintenance ponds. So we started shooting video with that. We tested it with that. And in time, we found out that nobody was doing exactly what we all do with video marketing, which is standard today. But in the very beginning, I want to say this was probably around 2009, when we started doing the pond stuff or whatever, he said he's never been that busy in 1 month in his life, and he got, I think it was like a $15,000 pawn job. And then I was like, oh my gosh, and that light bulb went on. I'm like, here is exactly where I need to be. But I didn't charge him anything. He was like, well, hey, here's for my day or whatever. It was something, and then some food and stuff, so forth. So it's just me to learn. We're all learning at this point. Then shortly after, I was like, well, we need to go to my uncle's RV repair company, and we just went there and we shot, I don't know, something like 45 videos, and that was the most at the time. We're like, let's just shoot everything we could think of. So we shot everything we could think of, and what happened is that company broke records every year in the millions. So then that was my, all right, well, cool, this is a great example. So then we moved on to sign company, roofing, restaurants, AC, and the list goes on and on. And now we are here today where Google is trying to compete against us, and we are trying to outsmart Google with their algorithms, and to the point where now I use my coding knowledge mixed with my my schooling knowledge in high school with the media and television and video, and we're molding those two together to understand how to actually get the videos, and correct videos, mind you, to rank on any keyword phrase, even if there are no videos ranking.
Even if they're competitive keywords.
Even if they're competitive, it doesn't matter. Because here's the thing is, everybody right now currently understands that you have to do backlinking and all that other stuff and have a viral. But Google understands that. They're smart, and they've changed it. They changed it a little bit. They now no longer really focus on what other people are talking about you. Yeah, it is valuable. It is very important. But at the same time, it's now focusing on how the actual users actually, interact with content. And
well, why don't we do this? Let's hold that thought. Let's do news of the week, and then let's dive into that after news of the week. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, because I think that really sets it up really well. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and do news of the week. Okay, this is from RealSEO.com. 85% of adults visit YouTube at least once a month, more than Facebook or Twitter. Hundreds of millions of adults are visiting YouTube every month, and the site continues to dominate social media activity, demonstrating a 25% increase in users in the last 6 months.
So we could thank GoPro for that one.
Yeah, true. Yeah, this comes from Global Web Index. Indicates that even if they don't consider themselves active users, 85% of adults are visiting the site every month, compared to 76% for Facebook and 40% for Twitter. Now, Facebook's got more active users, but YouTube's got more visitors. I think for the actual users who sign into YouTube itself, they're a very, very savvy person. I mean,
you know what I really find interesting with that too is it kind of dispels one of the notions that I had, which was when YouTube passed Facebook a couple months ago as the second most visited site or second most traffic, I believe is how they worded it.
Well, I would classify YouTube as a social site. It's almost exactly the same thing as Facebook now.
But I assumed at that time that, well, yeah, they're claiming to be the second most, but is it really people watching them on Facebook? That kind of a thing. But this flies in the face of that and says, no, more people are physically going to the actual site. I shouldn't say physically. That doesn't make any sense, but literally going to the actual YouTube site. So that's really interesting to hear that.
Well, maybe they have transponders and are doing it physically.
Yeah, they might have a better viewing experience. And, Facebook has a lot of clutter, and sometimes it'll just randomly update, and then video goes down the stream. So yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's good. It's good information to hear. That's for sure.
I've been saving up stories for a couple of weeks because we didn't do a show last week, and then Curtis fed me a bunch of stories, PM'd them to me on Facebook last night, and I thought, I got enough stuff. And I realized most of the stuff I was saving I didn't want to use, so I appreciate him sending me all that stuff. Now, this is one I already had that you sent me, though, but the rest of them I didn't. Google to be broken up in Europe and bid to end search monopoly. This is really stupid, I think, but anyhow.
Actually, that's interesting because just the title of that's interesting because the last thing I read about that was Europe was thinking about doing that.
Yeah. Basically what the story says is the European Parliament is calling for it, but they really don't have the power to do that. It's the European Commission who decides on new legislation. So I don't know.
I also read an article about it that it was also regarding the ability to remove searches. So if they want to choose to remove your site from the search engines, they wish to do it, and it's not Google's doing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. So if you wanted a request to have some stuff taken down, let's say if you have a photo viraling of you, like a celebrity we know, or a lot of celebrities we know, then the European Parliament will be able to then do that instead of having to contact Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, okay, that's the missing piece of the puzzle.
Well, and that goes back to a European ruling from I think it was 2 years ago, somewhere around there, which dealt with do you have the right to be forgotten?
Yes.
And it's still a debate today because it'll be interesting to see what happens because they kind of ruled that yes, you have a right to be forgotten, but they've failed miserably at being able to do anything about it. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Something's up there, it's up there. There's not much you can do about it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, it's very difficult to once it's on the internet and it's viraling, you can't stop it. It's there.
Exactly.
Well, and the thing to remember is that everybody's got a smartphone now, so just behave yourself when you're out in public, I mean,
serious.
I mean, boy, back in my day when I was in college, and
well, you were lucky.
Yeah, I mean, they might have a Polaroid, Then what did they do
don't
with
think
it?
Those can't come back to haunt you because they can be scanned in
Yeah, well, that's true, but
well, I mean, it's not like today where, you have a bunch of kids immediately, this is something that I could put up on YouTube or social media and start, pull out their iPhone and just start recording it. Oh, now they're like, now you have to contact your friends to take it down, and it's just a whole mess.
Yeah, you could have just walk down Bourbon Street in the evening with your smartphone if you have salacious stuff to.
Yep.
Girls Gone Wild.
Girls Gone Wild.
Yep.
Essentially what he did.
With a little bit of alcohol in their system.
That's right. That's right. Okay, this is one Curtis gave me. This comes from MacRumors.com. Chromecast leapfrogs Apple TV. Apple TV is getting old. Despite a decent drop in market share over the past year amid increased competition, Roku remains the leader among set-top boxes and streaming media sticks, accounting for 29% of the market in the 9-month period, down from 46% in 2013. Google's Chromecast stick had a strong showing in 2014, climbing to the number 2 slot with a 20% market share at the expense of Apple TV, down to number 3 at 17%.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, the Chromecast really doesn't do anything. It just kind of takes what you're watching on your computer and just projects it up to your TV.
Yeah.
So I can and it's cheap, so I can understand why that would do pretty well.
It also has internet capabilities too, so you could be surfing the internet. And there's a study that I was reading up on about too. It was probably a month ago that actually there's a big jump in mobile users who are actually switching to the Chromecast for their television instead of let's just say from AT&T and so forth. So that way you don't have to deal with the ads and stuff. So it's evolving now. It's now getting to the point where I feel that if Apple TV doesn't get smart and start implementing gaming interaction with their cell phones, let's say the cell phone was actually a controller, and then they use Apple TV with the gaming, and your iPhone was a controller, then they would definitely have the market share because they'd be kind of going after both the TiVo, Netflix, gaming industry, and then really provide kids with entertainment.
Well, I think your wish may be coming true already. So. Just keep your eyes out.
It's in the near future.
And you can kind of do it now, but it's a little bit different. But yeah, I think that is the direction to go with that. I do it for the kids every once in a while. I'll do the iPhone, iPad on the big screen, playing the games.
Oh yes, the feed of the video, so that way it's actually on the TV. Yeah, I see it coming there too. I mean, it's going to be, give it a few more years.
And I'll tell you, I've predicted this for a long time, and when I say predicted it, I knew it wouldn't come anytime yet, but I know this is where it's going. I think 10 years from now, you're not going to flip on your TV and switch to channel 10 to watch, NBC.
Oh no,
it's not going to exist anymore. You're going to use an Apple TV or a Roku and go to the NBC. Channel button and, watch the things on demand. Yeah, they'll have a live scheduling, but, basically everything will be on demand, and I think that's definitely where it's going. And I think these cable companies, who everybody already hates, are going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for real. And then I also think that that Google's going to have Apple run for the money, and Google's covering almost you could think of anything, but they've got the market share, and now I feel that Apple is secondary, as in by the masses, because Apple's focused on being the perfect, not being the first.
Right. Nope. That's always been the case. They've never been the first for a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Kind of like a Ford, I guess you could say. Ford didn't make the first car, but he made the first perfect assembly line car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. There you go.
Next on the news.
Here's another one you gave me. I don't know which website this is from, though. But this is about it just didn't print out. But here, this is the story you sent me about the solar-powered balloons that Google set off in the southern hemisphere.
Oh yes.
And it sounds like, it just sounds crazy, but it's working. Okay, Google announced in June 2013 that it was building Wi-Fi balloons to blanket the world's poor, remote, and rural regions with internet beamed down from the skies. It sounds funny. They wanted to put hundreds of these up, but they're working. They're actually, they've got some 75 Google balloons airborne. They're hovering. They're over the far reaches of the southern hemisphere, and they're adjusting their altitudes according to complex algorithms in order to watch current, in order to catch wind currents that keep them on course.
Oh goodness, I didn't read about that.
Yeah, and they'll be able to create a continuous 50-mile long wide ring of internet service around the globe.
Well, I do believe Google's next conquest is the providing of internet. Here in Utah, if you go down to Provo,
phone.
Sorry about that.
Phone. No, who is it?
No, it's getting answered.
Phone.
Down in Provo here in Utah, they've got Google has brought in gigabit internet.
Yes.
For people out here, and they've physically been the ones who have brought it in. It's not Comcast bringing it in. It's not Verizon. It's not any of those cast of characters that again everybody hates. They've brought their own in, and I think that's the direction they're going to go for.
Yeah, I believe that Google is now kind of more like when you say Google, the first thing that comes in your head, kind of like when you say Kleenex, it's a tissue. When you say Google, it's the internet.
Yeah.
Their brand. I believe it now. But,
and it'll be interesting to see how they move forward with that because, obviously still, 50% of people are using computers, but unlike a few years ago, 50% are not using computers and therefore probably not searching through Google like they used to. So that'll be interesting to see how they adjust to all of that as well.
That is mind-blowing because if you think about it, if you're using your internet through your cell phone instead of, a cell phone provider, some people use it through Wi-Fi.
Yep.
That means that if you search for anything, Google gets that data from your phone too. Well, sorry, I'm thinking way advanced. But it's something, here's the thing, there's another competitor to what you're saying. In about 3 years or so from now, Elon Musk is going to use his rockets to send out satellites they call the outer net, where 250 to 700 satellites will then connect the whole entire globe with an internet source.
So that's and it'll be that in itself is interesting in a couple of ways. Obviously, Elon Musk is a big fan of Nikola Tesla. We all know, that's the case, and we can show why pretty easily.
Transmitting electricity. Yeah, Tesla.
Yeah, well, and that's essentially, what Tesla wanted to do with electricity, but the reason that didn't work is because there was no way to monetize it, and Tesla didn't care if it was monetized.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be interesting to see how Elon Musk deals with that. Is there a way to make money off of that, or is it more important to, have everybody connected and make money other ways? And, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting where we're going. It's going to be excited to see that. Actually, I can't wait for the day that it's launched.
And then of course, will the space aliens be hijacking our internet connections, and sucking up bandwidth with their
they're gonna be surfing on the satellites.
Oh, you know what? I could wear that tinfoil on my head again.
Nice. There you go. You need to.
Yes.
Okay, here's another one Curtis sent me. This comes from MIT Technology Review. And thanks for giving me that feed, by the way. We'll start, cause there's like a million stories I'd never seen that Curtis sent me. And he shared the feed with me, so we'll be putting that on the fan page too and talking about them in future shows. But this comes from MIT, how Google translates pictures into words using vector space mathematics. I'm going to try to use those 3 words every day. Vector space mathematics.
I like it.
People will think I'm smart.
Very high tech.
Yes. Translating one language into another has always been a difficult task, but in recent years, Google has transformed this process by developing machine translation algorithms that change the nature of cross-cultural communications through Google Translate, of course. So we all know that. Well, now they've come up with the same. They're using the machine learning technique to translate pictures into words. The result is a system that automatically generates picture captions that accurately describe the content of images.
It's wild. The example on that page, if you print it out, they show people in a market, and there's a bunch of fruit and vegetables around, and then they show the example, and the transcribe says, people at the market, and there's a bunch of vegetables and food everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And this is, I mean, I could see the future. It's for Google's Siri version. So when you ask Google, okay, Google, can you find me a picture of people at a market, and then now it knows to give you the correct videos instead of human inputted optimization. Now it's computer optimization.
Nice.
You have to now use real content now. No more fake stuff. So you can see in the future things are now evolving to kind of outlead us people who kind of don't really provide real good stuff. So.
Yeah, I can see the picture spam being an issue in short order.
Well, here's the thing. It's not just that. They've also tested that with YouTube. They started doing this 3 months ago. They implemented it into YouTube, and they did a study on how many cats were in the YouTube video database.
Right.
And almost something like 360 million videos were registered that have cats or were about cats and stuff like that. So I was like, wow. So now it's just by the image recognition software. So that stuff is it's very crazy technology.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Okay, here's the last story. And this comes from Search Engine Land, and this is not a huge story, but it's kind of funny. Google has confirmed with Search Engine Land that the shifts and changes reported throughout the industry on Thanksgiving Day were the result of Penguin 3.0 that rolled out like 6 weeks ago, October 17th.
For the pirating.
Yeah, the Search Engine Land is saying that many sites reported on Thanksgiving that they saw recoveries. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that the new update with Penguin was to go after the Tor network and the pirating sites. So. Yeah,
we had that on a couple of weeks ago that a lot of those sites got hammered. So.
Yeah. So the teenagers will always be on that regardless. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And me.
Yeah. And me finding out what's been viral.
Yeah. No, I have.
Now for something completely different.
Well, wait, before we do something completely different, you want to hear something funny about the torrent sites? Being a child of the CD era, I've got tons of CDs here. Well, guess what? It takes a while, and it's a pain in the neck to stick in the CD and copy all the music and bring it into Europe. I go to the torrent sites and grab the ones that I already have.
Yeah, you already paid for it.
I mean, am I really breaking the law? I bought my license to the music. I could copy it in there. I'm just being lazy.
Well, if you bought the CD years ago, I'm not sure if it's 320 quality, 320 kilobytes.
That's true, but yeah, I'm not an audiophile, so I don't even care.
And the audiophiles are going old school with vinyl. I need to get my turntable back out.
Yeah,
you know?
There is a turntable you can buy that will plug into your computer USB.
Yeah, I saw that.
And record it.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's mind-blowing. Vinyl sales are actually are coming back.
Yep.
No, I'm not surprised.
It's got a richer sound. Curtis, I was on the radio for about 30 years, and I love CDs because it was just easier to work with. I always worked at album rock stations. So, you really, you had to kind of worry about record skipping and the scratches, and you had to cue them up and stuff. And with CDs, you didn't have to do any of that. But
it made the job easier.
Well, it made the job easier, but the first thing that we noticed is that just wasn't the depth of audio. They weren't as rich sounding as the vinyl was. Now, a lot of our vinyl records were, because we played them over and over again. But yeah, people are, the vinyl has always been a richer sound. In my personal library, which I didn't abuse, that's what I listen to when I really want to hear everything that's there. I pull out the old vinyl and put it on the turntable.
And you know what's crazy? We actually used to use, for our rotations, we actually had the music on carts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. And we didn't because we were, like I said, we were an FM album station. It was called album-oriented rock. It's still around. A few stations left. And so, we were playing the extended cuts and stuff. But, yeah, I go back to the days when AM Top 40 was king. That's how old I am. Well, everything was on carts.
And the funny thing is, I've got a friend who's a DJ now, and he comes in and does the 3-hour show in 20 minutes, and a computer just assembles the songs in between what he says.
Yep. Oh, that's the sad part of it all. No talent.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of lost interest in radio. Back in the day, and this is 40 years ago, but I could, I could pick what I wanted to play. We had a playlist, but it was, it was all on index cards, and there was probably a couple thousand index cards, and they were all categorized by, hits, deep album cuts. When we had a letter for each one, but I could pick out what I wanted to play. This was my college job. I never made a dime doing it, but it put me through college. But I could pick out what I wanted to play and get my show all put together and kind of decide what I wanted to do and have fun. Now you're just babysitting a computer.
Yeah.
So
computers thinking for you like your smartphones do.
Yeah.
It is.
And so it's kind of boring, and but it was fun in the day. But anyhow, well, here I'll hit Monty Python.
And now for something completely different.
Yes, for those of you who have stuck around through all that talk of radio that are probably scratching their heads at this point,
we could talk football.
We're going to head back into the year 2014 and discuss video marketing. So there we go.
Correct. Yes, let's get back on the topic.
Yes, absolutely. And I wanted to start off with the topic that is hugely popular right now, especially with all the changes that have happened, is, of course, video ranking. Much like your story that you were telling earlier that we'll touch on again, your story very much mirrors exactly how things happened for me, right from the high school AV stuff that we were getting in at the time. Of course, ours was much older. Being a decade,
big clunky stuff.
A decade earlier, we were, struggling with different computers and things. But we kind of had the same exact thing, and I stumbled right into the online business video stuff, and it's gone really well with that, and we've seen huge results. But a lot of people are reporting now, well, gee, my videos just don't rank like they used to.
Correct, and that's a combination of multitudes with what comes into the algorithm. Kind of like, for one aspect was one of the algorithms that Steve was talking about was the image translator. So that comes in also with the videos. So, like you were saying, for an example is, like, let's just say if we talking about a video that we uploaded 2-3 years ago, and it used to rank on multiple different keyword phrases on the first page, sometimes 4 or 5 videos. That was a typical. Now, since Google's been getting smart and trying to compete against us video marketers, we then have to understand how Google builds their algorithm system, because it's not a person deciding whether it's good content or not. It's a computer. So the computer can't really justify if it's real or not if you know what the computer is looking for. So the thing is, a lot of people currently post it and they do what I call Web 2.0 optimization, but now you need Web 3.0 optimization, and that means Web 3.0 mainly means mobile interaction. It's the new platform of where everything is going towards. Web 2.0 is all the social. Web 3.0 is more catered to the shopper, the person, to their smartphone. Their smartphone knows everything about them that they know about themselves. And the key part of it is that it constantly remembers everything. So let's just say, for an example, you're going to do a Google search. Well, a Google search, in a typical Google search, it's going to, 1, check your cookies, 2, check your IP address so it knows where you're at. It's going to basically check if you're sharing all your stuff on your privacy settings. Most people on their iPhones, if you want to go to your privacy settings, you can see that you're sharing almost everything. So almost every app that you're using, like Safari or Google search engine, those applications have access to your personal information, so that way they can give you a result that is most catered to you. Why is this important? Because, well, for internet marketers like us, we need to figure out how to position and market our content or our customers' content, so that way it will present itself to those customers. Why? Because those customers are the most highly qualified customers, and they're normally looking to buy right now. So if your system currently isn't catering to the mobile shopper, I mean, that's obvious, then you're not going to convert. Now, there's a big market that people don't understand yet is when you ask Siri, you go, Siri, can you find me an optometrist near me? Okay, and it's going to go through its algorithm, not based off of the first page results. That's just one criteria. Right. It's going to go through your personal criteria, your browsing history, your cookie, and then at the last it's going to go by your IP address to find out the closest one next to you. So if you don't understand how the algorithm works by searching to give you the best results by that, then essentially you're kind of throwing stuff anywhere and it's not really going to go towards the right people. There's a lot of people who use a computer to shop or do research, but the person who's using their phone has a pain, needs a solution right now. Maybe the toilet's overflowing. That's common. The first thing you do, you don't go to the yellow pages and quickly get through the pages, go to the plumbing section and, okay.
Watch a few videos on YouTube before you decide.
Exactly. Yeah. But videos, really honestly, if the video is ranking on the first page of Google, people who are in need, the subconscious mind, it only speaks in images. It doesn't speak in words like how our consciousness does. So the first thing it does is it catches the image. So your brain is lit up immediately. Click that because it's a guy with a plumb next to a toilet and it looks like a plumber. So click it, watch it. Okay, he sounds like he knows what we're talking about. I'm calling him right now. Are you the dude in the video? Yes, I am. Awesome. Can you tell me we have a toilet overflowing? Now we might need to clean the carpet outside of the bathroom because there was in the spare bedroom. The list goes on and on and on. So
well, what we found with that too is we found that many people don't even get as far as watching the video. If the thumbnail has a phone number or the phone number's in the title, which I know supposedly that's getting kicked out a little bit, as long as that phone number's right there on page 1 with that picture, they don't even go to the video; they just call.
Yep, right there. Once it's visible, they'll immediately. Anything that's the most simplest, quickest way. People don't have time. They're inconvenienced by text and sales speech and stuff. They just want to see that you're the expert. Sometimes they don't want to even see. They just want to find a phone number, like on Google Maps, and they'll just literally call. And if somebody, here's one thing that kind of gets me, is that most of my customers, I qualify them beforehand, so they understand that you're going to hire somebody to pick up the phone always. So when my past customers and the small mom and pops in the beginning days, when they wouldn't pick up their phone, it would kind of bother me. I'd be like, come on, you guys are hiring me to make you your money, but then they say, we made our month, all of our bills are paid, you're paid and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but you don't have aspirations to grow. You got to, come on, let's make millions here. So really, like you're saying, it comes down to creating something that's going to capture their eye and actually compel them to make a phone call. So we're going to go back into the algorithm, and what we're talking about is there's also a criteria for your content to be ranking. And now there's a lot of stuff like as in optimizing your website, your social sites, and putting the information where it needs. But a lot of people kind of skip those small details. And if the viewers who are watching right now have watched the one about Terry's recording on the show, basically you'll understand that in the criteria you have to have everything specifically in detail. So if let's just say you only do the title description and you don't implement all the other stuff that comes into what Google or the other sites are actually asking for, then your content's not going to be ranked valuable as if it was a savvy YouTuber. So like let's just say they actually hired somebody in-house to do social media every single day. Well, that person is going to outrank your stuff because he has actual organic content value. So we need to implement that stuff into our customer stuff. So you can't just create a Gmail account and then skip the Google Plus side. You just go straight to the YouTube. You have to create the Google Plus. You have to create the analytics account. You have to create the AdWords account. I mean, the list goes on and on, but you want to create every single Google account that you could possibly tell Google, saying, hey, listen, I don't use AdWords, but I'm going to tell you that I kind of want to start up an account, or analytics, we need to do this. And so what you're doing is you're telling Google that we're here and we're here to stay and we're going to be a big player. Instead, people then go, well, all I want to do is I go to Fiverr, get a video done. If Fiverr's going to upload it, the list, whatever. They cut corners. And that's the basic checking point when Google goes to finding content. It goes, they have a checklist, and the robots will go through the checklist and find, do you pass all these with flying colors? Perfect. Now we're going to throw you into the ball game competing against the big guys currently, and we're going to throw you up on the first page of Google, and we're going to see if anybody clicks on you, because currently everybody else is getting clicks. So we're going to throw you in the sandbox for about 5 days. If nobody clicks on your video, you're never, ever going to have another chance to get up on the first page of Google unless you start doing backlinking, okay? So let me take a step back. So if you're going to ask me how would get your video to the first page of Google? So we'll use you as an example. Yesterday, how about this? Yesterday I had a meeting with a private charter jet company, and we were going to go after over 720 different keyword phrases, and that requires every single city in Los Angeles, okay, plus I think 120 broad global keyword phrases. But for me to get you guys get that jet company actually on the first page of Google for broad keyword phrases is very simple, but at the same time I have to make sure I go through all the steps. And step one will be, how does your shopper buy? Okay, so for the private charter jet, these people are people who have either $1 million or more. So these people normally have assistants or people that take care of the things that they don't want to take care of. So either it's going to be an assistant that calls the company, or it's going to be the children, or it's going to be actually the business owner themselves. So how do these people think? Now we understand how they think. We are going to cater video exactly the way that they're looking for. Nothing selling, no special, no price here and there. It's just displaying in a nice, easy way of saying, this is what our business is about, and this is what we provide as a service, and this is what you're going to be experiencing. If you have any questions, give us a call. So we would go to the hangar. We would film the jets that he has, in his inventory, or the amount of jets that he would provide if he has a network of jets, and we just showcase those. And after we've got that video content, we want to make sure that we upload that video and everything from a local IP address. Okay? Most people will just upload their content from their house address, which is not in the same city. Okay? So if I were to then, this customer's in Los Angeles, but if he wants to do it in Miami, I would then go get Miami IP addresses, and I would get anywhere from 10 to 50, depends. So each account will have its own IP address. So I would then create the account, typical stuff like most of your viewers know, optimize it, and all that stuff under that IP address. Okay, now that account has its own IP address. I assign that account to that IP address. So whenever that account logs in, it's only going to use that IP address. Okay. So now I then upload all the video content, and it's all there. Okay. I then create another account, and I do the exact same steps. And I'm going to do as many accounts as my customer wants for each individual city.
Right.
Now what it comes down to is, now that I have all that stuff done, I've pinged all those videos. All those videos have been pinged. Now they're ranking on Google the next day. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into one of those accounts with that specific IP address that it wants. And I'm not just going to go to that video. I'm going to go to the Google search, and I'm going to type in the keyword phrase that I want to rank for. And this is while I'm logged into that account. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that you guys understand this. But the reason why is because Google tracks everything. So if you actually type in the keyword phrase while you're logged into Google and you search that keyword phrase, Google is going to remember that because Google doesn't remember broad searches because of the NSA problem a year or two ago. So now that I'm a Google account user, my traffic is more valuable than just, let's just say, somebody on a desktop who's not logged in and they're searching, because that traffic is not a person, I guess you could say. It can be a robot or something. So there's unlimited possibilities. So main search criteria in Web 3.0. Now, when you're logged in and you're searching your keyword phrase, you're going to want to travel back as many pages as you want. And it doesn't matter, because here's the thing. Google is recording your steps. So it's like, for instance, you're going through the woods on a new trail that nobody's ever gone to, but everybody goes to the same watering hole. But you for some reason, something's telling you that there's a better a solution out there, and you go all the way to page 10 and you find your video. Well, Google's going to go, holy, nobody's ever gone back to page 10 before. This video's got to be something good.
Yep.
Okay, so you do this once a day. So you can do this all to all the videos in that channel, to all the videos, to all the different keyword phrases. So remember, you find your video from the keyword phrase from the first page of Google. And what happens is then the next day you log into a different Gmail account and you do the exact same thing. And you'll see over those days, immediately jump from page 10 all the way to page 2, and then all of a sudden to page 1, 10th position, and then all of a sudden now you're getting on the top. And then what happens is you're doing those for all those different keyword phrases, and then all of a sudden you see now 2 videos are on the top. Awesome. And then all of a sudden you see, now it's on top of the maps. Or it's on top of Yelp. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why is because your Google owns YouTube, and you're implementing the 3.0 interaction. Now, if you want to take it to the next step here is what I don't share with people. I have not shared with anybody that I've been doing for the past 3 years, and it's been doing really well.
Get your pencils ready, folks.
The last step, which kind of can be the tip of the day, but the tip of the day is kind of in it, but what I do is
and
I go out and go shopping.
Tip of the week with Ray the Video Guy.
There you go. The tip of the week, really what it comes down to is when I go out shopping, I'll go or just go out to get a thing of ice cream. I'll normally stop by the Verizon store or the AT&T store, or just go to the mall to go to the kiosks that have cell phones. Okay? And what I'll do is for the website, okay, because everything you do on the internet's tracked and recorded, like I was saying, is mobile traffic is the most important traffic of all. So if you provide your videos and essentially your website with mobile traffic that does not leave your video or your website, what it does is now it tells, well, this viewer was on this video for 5 hours and they didn't do anything. So what it did, they watched the video, obviously, but it lowered the bounce rate to that video. So now that video has more importance than a person who is just looking for a solution because they're there for 15 to 20 seconds because they already gave a call to the person. So now the bounce rate's now going back up because the viewer, the traffic wasn't there as long as it should be. And that's why us video marketers, we explain to our prospects that the reason why you need video on your website is because, one, video keeps the user there on your website longer, which lowers your bounce rate. And the bounce rate is a big factor with getting cheaper pay-per-click and getting your videos ranked, your whole thing, everything ranked better. So what you want to do is you want to focus your bounce rate for your website to be low, and you do that at the same steps with your videos, and you'll get your videos and your website and your reputation on the first page of Google and stay there for a really long time, because people don't do this. They don't implement long-term customer interaction. So they go, okay, watch the video. The video was only 1 minute long. I like the comments and all that stuff, whatever. That's good, but if you could leave that video, let's say, in a separate tab, and you have all those tabs over the top, and you just minimize that window, and then you go on with your day, and what you're doing is you're lowering that bounce rate and getting it going. But the key part is going to somewhere else, like the mall or the Verizon or something, because there's multiple cell phones there, multiple tablets there. And it's very, very key to go do this, because you'll see it literally if you do it every day or every other day, or, if you drop the kids off and you can come back or whatever and stop by the AT&T store and tell the manager, no, I'm not here to buy, I'm just here to help my website stuff or whatever. Is it cool? I'll make you cookies or something, and they're sure, whatever. Or bring him donuts. I mean, that's literally what I do. Is I brought donuts for the Verizon guy, and he's like, hey, what's up, Curtis? What's going on? Or whatever. Walk through and all that stuff. And it's pretty funny, but I've watched all my customers literally rank, just climb, because of the mobile social interaction that I'm implementing with the 3.0.
Well, and I think it's important to understand, because you let me look under the hood about a month ago, and I went, oh, okay, that's how he's doing it. But you've got a system for doing it. And,
oh, yes.
And just because you know how Curtis does it doesn't mean you necessarily are going to get it done. I mean, he's got a complete system for doing it, and he makes it sound easy. It's not. Yeah,
the going to the Verizon store and stuff like that, I do have it. I go to a website or a web address, and basically there's a bunch of links, which makes my job a lot easier for when I'm searching and stuff like that. And then when I'm on the computer, let's just say adding the social interaction, the Web 3.0 social interaction to the websites and video. Well, I have a few stay-at-home moms that take care of their kids and stuff like that, so they enjoy working 2 to 3 hours a day and getting paid very well for that. And for the most part, it's not about trying to go out and get offshore help. It's about actually helping people who are currently in our country, and especially the people who are raising our future generation. And I believe that all of us understand how to actually do this correctly, and I understand that everyone's trying to outwit Google, but there's so much business out there. I have the statistics here. There's 70,000 businesses that have a population of 50,000 or more. That means in those businesses, there's an average of 100 businesses, 150 businesses that make an average of $1,000 per invoice. So if you do the numbers on there, just that numbers, and you're getting a $30,000 a year marketing budget for this whole entire thing, they pay you that. Well, that's anywhere from $1 billion to $1.6 billion, depending on how well you do, if that's your base numbers. Now, if you're selling it for $50,000, whatever, that's almost $3 billion. So you can see just in those numbers alone, and that's only our country. There's other countries in the world, and with the internet coming out, it's going to be a $100 billion industry. This is not going to stop. So nice. You got to understand the algorithm. The algorithm is
the funny thing is going back a couple moments here, when you were talking about the searching and the clicking, when I released my last video ranking, how to rank videos, that was one of the biggest things in there. Yeah, we had all the basics of, make sure you know your keyword and whatever, but one of the biggest things was that search and click tactic. And what I've actually done is I've done the same. I pay people just to search and click.
Yep.
And it can be very, one of the examples, it was a video that had been on, we had struggled to get it to page 1 for whatever reason, forever and ever and ever. It just always, occasionally it would pop to page 1, maybe for a day, and then it would be back on page 2. Mm-hmm. And nothing we could do could get it to page 1. And I finally tried the search and click tactic. I had about, I think it was like maybe 10 people do it over the course of like a week, and it jumped right to page 1. I mean,
instantly.
It was crazy.
And if they're logged in too, what it helps is
I require them to be logged in. Yep.
Perfect. When they make a comment on that video, then it shares to their Google Plus, which then now if a person's logged in to their Google on their phone, it will then rank that comment, because that comment is essentially I don't know if we've talked about this, but when you share the videos on your Google Plus, what happens is if you optimize that post with the same keyword phrase and then a hashtag of the same relevant keyword, what happens is then it's going to rank on the first page of Google. But it's going to rank on the first page of Google for people who are logged in on their Google. And it's also going to rank it on the first page of Google for people who are on their Google application from their phone. So the majority of people have Google or Android phones. So you kind of want to implement this into your video marketing just because Google is just dominant. But it's very, very key, like you were saying. Doing 10.
It's great with the Android phones for that, specifically because of that very factor is they're always logged in.
Yes.
And if they're using an iPhone, you have to tell them, okay, make sure when you go to Google that you're actually logged in.
Yep.
So it's very easy to have them do that. If they got an Android phone, they're going to be logged in, which is great, and that really helps. So if you can suffer through owning Android, use that. And no, I'm just kidding.
I know. I have an iPhone. I love iPhone. I do not use any of that stuff. But yes. So really, there's another part of the tip of the day, though, is when you do a search and you're logged in, okay, there are two things that Google will notice is when you search that keyword phrase, is if you want your video to rank on a keyword phrase that's not going to rank or that you think will never rank, all you have to do is every time somebody searches for that keyword phrase, you just add the word video to that keyword phrase, and what it'll do is it'll start showing you the video results. So since it's a long tail keyword phrase, Google will go, well, people are typing video, and it seems like they're getting the results they like. Well, we're going to end up showing this video on the first page of Google, and we're also, not just for the word keyword phrase video, but the keyword phrase with the word video removed. So what happens is you're creating viral for the root keyword phrase.
Right.
And what happens is in Google Suggest tool, what it'll do is, since that's an algorithmic mathematical equation too, is if you put the business name instead of the video, then the business website will also rank too. But when they search for this stuff, most people, when they search, they type in half the word, and Google Suggest will say whatever, and then the person will then end up clicking the suggestion. So when you give Google information to add to its suggestion tool, then what happens is your client, or you essentially, become the authoritative figure before they've even seen the results. And what happens, so there's two things right there. It's you're getting your video on the root word, as well as getting what you want what Google to suggest to your future prospects. So it's very, very powerful to implement that into your marketing strategies as well.
Beautiful. Well, that's fantastic. So for those of you let's do a quick little recap, because that's some awesome stuff right there. Is one, get people that are logged in to their Google accounts to search and click your keyword and click on your video or your website, depending on what you're trying to do there. Mm-hmm. And then, just do that. What do you think? Like over 10 days, or do you keep doing that after that?
Well, see, here's the thing. Since I have multiple different accounts for all my customers, or I'll be using those interactive with each other. So really what it comes down to is if you have user-savvy accounts, like that constantly social or have videos or posts, use those accounts. A savvy user has more value to a share than a brand new account has to a share. So you want to implement those, and then one account a day, and then if you can, go to a mobile store where you could implement multiple. Honestly, really, I'm telling you the truth.
No, I used to do that at Best Buy.
Yeah, there you go. Go to Best Buy. I mean, if they have the internet, they have a lot of phones there. They got more than AT&T. So just go there, spend 30 minutes. I mean, what's 30 minutes of your time for your customer to pay you, $4,000 or $5,000 a month? And you just sit there and really go to the videos, go to the website, and you want them to, those phones to stay, just leave that application, the default thing on the screen. It's okay if the screen goes black. It's still telling Google this phone is still on this page, which then lowers your bounce rate. And that's the key, is the bounce rate. The bounce rate is a big factor in Web 1.0. Remember back in the, double O's is the Web 1.0 is to lower that bounce rate, lower the bounce rate. So you want to do that to all your stuff. So what you want to have at least 5 to 10 different unique accounts, one account a day to all your targeted keyword phrases. And by the 5th to 10th day, you'll see your website and your videos on the top.
I used to know somebody else who used to use quote-unquote employees for this. And those employees were various SIM cards that he would put into his phone.
Yes.
So you just switch the SIM card, do the search, switch the SIM card, do the search.
It depends on the IP address as well now. Now, the IP address has value. So, there are different accounts, different users, and stuff like that. It will change your IP address when you turn your phone off. So you turn it back on, you have a new IP address, and you could log in with a different user if you want to do that from your phone personally. But it's a lot easier when you go to a store to do that. Like you said, Best Buy. I haven't gone to Best Buy yet, and I got it right down the street. So I'm going to start utilizing Best Buy now.
There you go.
So yeah,
and you can go to the desktops and do the same there.
Correct. Yes. They got apples there, which is good.
Yep, they do.
So then, like I said, to wrap all that up, after you've done that viral, is to make sure that to add that keyword phrase that you want Google to suggest to your future prospects, because that's very, very key. The suggestion tool is still brand new. Oh,
absolutely, and we've actually, Steve and I can vouch for that being a quite viable opportunity. Yes. In fact, to go back to the search box thing, we actually have a great story about that, because what happened to us was we had this client who called us on the phone and was like, whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it, because we are slammed. The phones won't stop ringing. And we're like, awesome. Oh, I was so glad that worked. And we got off the phone and said, okay, what did we do? Find out that's exactly what happened. Was all of a sudden these guys were suggested, when somebody typed in the keyword, they were being suggested, not just more keywords. And so they were getting all these clicks long before what I like to call it. I like to call it precognitive SEO, because before you even see the first page of Google, you're already getting the information and you're already being influenced. And of course, you click on that, and now everything related to you shows up. So it was very, very effective. And then somebody smarter than me in our office kind of figured out how that happened and kind of reverse engineered it. And they've changed it a little bit now, so it got a little tougher, and he had to move things about over the last couple of weeks. But, that was very effective.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. You know what the neat thing about this, because I know we're going to start wrapping it up here, but the neat thing about the whole interview thing here is that Curtis started by establishing his credibility. And then he said, here's what I'm going to tell you about, and then he told it about it, and then recapped it. It's kind of like, here's what you were taught, and then I'm going to tell you what you were taught again.
Perfect. Yes.
It follow the formula. And, one thing, we joke about, Curtis's age, but in this day and age, nobody cares how old you are. They only care about what you know.
Exactly.
Age doesn't make any difference anymore. And that, and back in my day, that wasn't so.
Yeah, Napoleon Hill said this: you're never too young to teach, and you're never too old to learn.
That's right.
There you go. And look how old he was.
Exactly. Well, when he got underneath Andrew Carnegie's arm, he was 20 years old.
Yeah.
It took him 15 years to write the book, or 20 years, Think and Grow Rich, for one of those. So, but very, very intellectual guy and stuff like that. I've learned a lot from that.
Oh, yeah. It's brilliant stuff. For those of you who have not checked that out, they have it. You can still get the book. You can still get the audio book, and you can even hear Napoleon's own voice on there, which is kind of comedy in itself. But pick it up, check it out. Think and Grow Rich. It's got a lot of great information. You can learn all about the basics of masterminding, which has become so huge over the last couple of years. For something that was talked about so long ago to finally start to really come into fruition is kind of interesting to see as well. But
that book's almost 90 years old, isn't it?
Which means that we are going 90 years old. Here's the thing: if the book was started to be written 20 years before the book was released.
Oh, that's right.
We are essentially in that same boom that Andrew Carnegie was then teaching Napoleon Hill. So we're in that 25-year gap of that full 100-year cycle, which then, if you know anything about history repeats itself, and we are now in and going through the most prosperous years of our life.
Absolutely. It's just a different type of printing press. It's just a different type of, television when it was invented. I mean, it's just the latest thing, and it's huge, and it's caused this great boom to go on, and
it's going to happen
people
again.
are still figuring it out.
But I would say that technology changes at a much more rapid pace than it did 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, it's just amazing. When I was in college, we learned how to set type on hot lead machines. Don't laugh. Come on.
Yeah. I give all my success credit to that book. I mean, Napoleon Hill. There's another book that was released before that. It's called The Law of Success, the 1925 version. You can get it off of Amazon. But it was from his 15 manuscript booklets, and this is what he sent to university professors. And they said it was too good for the masses because then we'd have a bunch of millionaires and we'd then have no free market. So if anybody who's listening to the audio right now, I would recommend to actually go Google those two books, read those, and you will then, in your business, thrive. Whether it's doing internet marketing or cleaning the house,
whatever it is, something, and that was, some things just don't change. I mean, the basic premises of being successful have not changed since Napoleon Hill's day. I mean, good stuff is good stuff. So.
It is.
Good thoughts are good thoughts. Sound thinking is sound.
The way I like to put it is if you think of baseball, that whether you're a major league player or you're in little league, the basics always apply, and it's the case here. You still have to occasionally throw to first. You still have to, you still have to watch the pitches. You still have to, it's all the same type of stuff. It's just a matter of learning it and applying it to what's going on today. And I think that's the real big tip of the day right now is, education. Educate yourself. And we're not talking about going to school and taking tests and all that, but, go get an Audible account.
Yeah, exactly.
Get the podcast. There are so many great podcasts that will teach you so many things about business, about internet, about SEO, whatever it happens.
Sales.
It's all free. It's all free.
About whatever you want to learn.
Exactly. But, get an Audible account. Get a library card. Whatever it happens to be. Get out there and learn this stuff because there's so many great books. There's so many great podcasts, audio books, and things like that, that not only can teach you the basics of business but can help you with your mindset, whether it's, getting T. Harv Eckert's books, getting into that mindset. My wife laughs at me because I try that millionaire mindset stuff all the time. And she says, "You're not a millionaire." I said, "Well, not yet, but I can think like one."
There you go. In order to become, here's the thing. When you're growing a plant, you're not focusing on what it looks like outside because you don't see it. You just water the dirt. So what you're focusing on is the stuff that you can't see, the roots, the stuff that's inside of the dirt, the stuff that's, if you want to say your body's the dirt and you can't see what you're growing inside, but all you do is focusing on putting things on the outside, which are leaves or materialistic stuff, then you're not going to essentially have a good, thriving plant that's going to give you apples and fruits to actually benefit in your life. So you must focus on the interior to then create what you want exterior. So, and like I said in the book, it's all about how you think. So if you're going to go in the internet marketing business thinking, well, I could cut this corner, It's the same thing like going into martial arts, and you're going to say, well, I don't need to learn that. Well, immediately you're going to get knocked down and you're going to lose because you want to skip the basics. Whoever focuses and does the basics, repeat every day, they become a master at what they do because they repeat the basics. And then after you understand the basics, like it's a daily living thing and it's constantly in your mind and everything, then you could evolve to the next step, the next level, which would be the next thing.
There you go.
I mean, the basics of business apply to the same basics of internet marketing, and Google has the exact same thing. So we're all manipulating their structure so that way our customers or our websites get the benefit out of the doubt. But at the same time, if you're not going to implement the same basics into your own business, and you're thinking I got to pay the bills, and the bills are only $5,000, well, you're only going to make $5,000 a month. You want to go, I want to provide a solution. I'm going into business because I need to provide a solution, not just for my children, but I need to provide a solution for people who are currently hungry outside. And that right there will then, if you explain this to your customers, why you're in business is because I see people outside cold in the winter, and that affects me emotionally to the point where I want to then use this opportunity to provide solutions for people. Money is only a number, and it's easier to make $1 million than it is to make 100,000. So if you tell your customers, the reason why I'm in business is because I'm spending my money into nonprofit organizations that I know are going to provide solutions, training solutions, not just giving a fish to a man. I'm going to make sure he goes through training courses, and then I'm going to reward him with a fishing pole so he could go catch his fish himself.
Nice.
That's what it comes down.
I love it. Yeah, we obviously Thanksgiving here in the U.S. was last week, and I was talking with my father-in-law, and he asked me something similar to that about a goal that I had, and I said, and he thought that he was kind of puzzled by this answer, but one of my goals was to be able to be the guy who could leave $100 tip to the waitress at a restaurant. Yeah. And he thought that was very odd.
Well, at least your father-in-law talks to you.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey now.
But honestly, it sounds silly, but
you're helping somebody.
How can you can't leave $100 tip for a waitress on New Year's Eve or whatever if you don't have $100 to give to them.
Correct.
But you can affect their lives once you are in that position, and who knows what they're going to do with that. Mm-hmm. They could turn around and start their internet business with that the next day or whatever it happens to be, and provide something better for themselves or for somebody that they care for.
Yeah.
So it's
selfless.
Yeah. A friend of mine, he actually discovered that for about $20,000, you can build a school in some of the African nations. And so he was able to, think about that. That sounds like a lot of money when you say, I'm going to spend $20,000. But if you think about it, it's really not that much money.
Yeah.
And think of what he's able to affect by saying, okay, this year I'm going to make an extra $20,000 that can go towards building a school.
Or let's just say that you're making $1 million and you got taxes to pay and it's a business write-off. There you go.
There you go. But I made it easy to do that. Build a school for the tax purposes.
Well, no, honestly, to tell you the truth, that's what's going on in the world. Is if you make $1 million or more, you're going to have at least 10 to 11% taxes. So you're going to be having to do, what is that number, 100,000 or something more at the end of the year. So if you have to donate $100,000, you could build quite a few schools with that. So why don't you go, hey, Mom, I know you're in retirement, but would you be able to oversee this organization and you build it in your name and I donate it to you, and then we both go to Africa and we film exactly what we're doing and we showcase and we display it because we're actually doing it instead of being like Kim Kardashian where you make a nonprofit organization, take all the money, only give 8% of it to the people in the Philippines.
Right.
So really, what you're saying is like being able to give a waitress $100 is a great selfless motivator. You have to figure out what will motivate you that has nothing to do with your life or your children. It has to be something bigger. And that's why when people focus on something bigger and they explain this to any prospect in any meeting, that's why we're even sitting here, is because I'm here for that big goal. What happens is those people who believe you and understand that that's why you're in the business will end up providing you with that, of what you're looking for, which is, it's not money. Yes, it's money, but money is only the medium used to provide the solution for humanity. And, that's
I got a maybe a little simpler viewpoint on it. Not that I disagree. Don't take that with you. But I've been a sales guy most of my adult life. Been a rainmaker, and I'm an introvert. I don't. I get my energy by being alone. I'm not the best networker in the world because of that. But what I did was I enjoy the marketing process. I enjoy, for me, it's always been about how can we connect, how can I be of service. And with the exception of a few years here and there, I've always been at least $1 million producer. But how I did it was, a couple things is, three things probably. I took every sales course I could. And, of course, every sales course you take, they're going to tell you got to do exactly my way. And I never did. I picked up what I liked and said, I can do this part, I can do that part, and formulated a process that I executed on a daily basis, and I had faith in my process. Now, the key was I came up with a good process. I'm a smart guy. And I executed it on a daily basis. I never looked at, it's Monday, it's raining outside, I don't feel like doing it. And it's not that I didn't feel that way, but I worked through that and got it all done.
Yeah, it's the repetitive stuff. And
putting on the uniform every day and stepping up to bat. Even the best hitters only hit 300.
Yeah, but still they go out there and they hit anyways.
Yeah.
Even if it's raining, they will still go out and try to hit anyways.
Yeah, it's the tenacity. So I'm always fond of saying I know there's better sales guys out there than me, and I know there's ones that aren't as good as me. Mm-hmm. I don't really care about that. And I don't mean to sound like I don't care about the less fortunate. I don't care about the other folks. And how they're doing so much as how I'm doing, and whom can I learn from, and how can I connect, how can I be of service, and it's just putting on the uniform, stepping up to bat every day.
Yeah, like you were saying, you don't need to worry about your competition. You just need to worry about yourself and for your own personal goals. And
right.
And if you're learning stuff, some pieces of the pie will work, and some, if you say, that hasn't worked, I've done it in the past, so I'm going to only take this chunk of nugget, and I'll apply this with this other chunk of nugget and get a really good recipe. And that's what it comes down to, is having a really good recipe, because if you take one thing out, then you're not going to get the same piece of pie.
Right. And then you have to have faith. You have to have, Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Hill covers this in his book. That's a great quote. I got skills, Napoleon Dynamite. No, Napoleon Hill says, man, you got to have faith. You got to have faith. And all the processes that I utilized, I didn't come up with them. People smarter than me came up with them. I just adapted them for me.
Exactly.
And so I'm not going to try to do something that doesn't work for me. I'm going to look like an idiot if I do. I know of some sales guys that are very good at being aggressive. And if I tried being aggressive like them, and when I say aggressive on a call, if I tried doing that, I'd get kicked out of the room. But I've been with guys that do that, and they answer their questions, and they're fine with it. It's just whatever, what works for you. What are your skills?
Yes, exactly. Something that makes you happy.
Yeah, well, and what I truly love is the marketing process.
And that's the fun part of it all.
Yeah, I used to make a ton of cold calls on the phone, and I still do some of that, but if I was making 50 cold calls a day, there were guys that were making 200 and not breaking a sweat, and sweat was pouring off my brow doing that, but I still did it, and I still do it.
Yeah, well, in my sales experience, because I do understand what you're talking about, cold calling, if I were to cold call, I'd make sure that they pick up, and then what I do is I go walk in this shop multiple times. I'd be persistent, and even the people, they say, "Man, you're persistent."
Yep, that's
and you don't give them any literature. You just go in there asking them if the big guy is going to be in and at what time, and if they don't give you an answer, you constantly until you break that person and go, "He's here between this hour and this hour. Thank you." And you finally get, and then the business owner has no idea that you've been coming in, but now he has an idea because you just walked in at the same time that he's in the office.
There was a story I read. This gal made some better jam. Let's say it was jam. I forget what it was, but she sold this jam by cold calling, and once a week she would call Perkins corporate headquarters, and I think it was Perkins, and she got shut down once a week. And but she kept doing that, and she developed relationships, and she would just call once a week to see if anything
changed.
Well, she called one week, and something had changed. They had a new president, and he found out that this woman had been calling for 5 years once a week just to see if anything changed. So he spoke with her, and she got the contract.
There you go, exactly like that. Persistence. You just gotta keep going in, you know. And I'm doing that right now with a pool table company or whatever. This guy's got 3 stores, and I just keep logging in, and I haven't given him sales literature. I've shown him this stuff, but I haven't given it to him, so he doesn't have it. So he doesn't go, "Oh, I could just whatever," you know. So it's the persistent stuff, whatever. And he's like, "Well, you want it?" And I'm like, "It's the last month. You could do a business write-off." So really what it comes down to is you got to make sure that you do not stop at trying to obtain your goal, and your goal has to be something that's selfless. And I mean, this is basic with any business. I mean, the stuff that we're showing you here, all these tips and how the algorithm works, this is only the same thing with just this business. If you're going to do the same thing with anything, if you want to be like the jam woman, you're going to have to apply the same things in your business. So when people invest in the internet marketing, they say, "Oh, it doesn't work." No, it's not that it didn't work. It's that you did not do the work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really what it comes down to is there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about when it comes to business, but when it comes to the internet, it's the same recipe over and over and over, just like any factory job.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we take off, because we've actually gone pretty long here. This is pretty good. This is exciting. One question that I have, and I have this question because I know people have posed it to me before, and I'd like to get your take on it. You know, when it comes to the whole finding a video, searching, clicking on it, that sort of thing, what do you do when your video's just not, you know, in those first 10, 15 pages yet? Is it okay to hit the video tab and click it there? Is that going to help? You know, that sort of thing.
Normally, if that happens, I forgot to ping it, and I use a mass. You just go mass-ping.com or something like that. Or they run out sometimes because of their data hosting. I have my own pinger, so you could use mine as well if interested. But normally, after I'm done with the videos, I ping them, and I use a mass pinger. It goes to 140 different ping sites or search engine sites. So if you're using like what's it called, Pingler or something, I forgot the name.
Yeah, Pingler. Yeah.
They only do it to a select few. So what happens is if those select few have a long line of cache data to have to ping, then it's going to take a while. So what I do is I do it to 146 different search engines, which then those search engines index, and then Google's live data will then access those search engines and then relay it back, and then therefore it starts to index, and then it starts to rank and rank.
Now, what if it's basically because, you know, there's lots of video competition? The reason I'm pulling up one that I know, for instance, as an example here, I pulled up a lawyer video. Now, the issue here is that we did a bunch of videos for a lawyer a couple years ago. They all rank extremely well, and now I'm trying to break into that market with a new video, which is ranking well, but the other videos that have been around for 2 years that we did all the same stuff to are still hurting it because it's just too new.
Yep.
So in the YouTube search function, you get to page 20 on your phone, and it stops. Yep. It doesn't show up in the top 20 pages yet. So even though it's probably the number 5 video in the video tab.
Well, see, here's the thing. you go all the way to the very end pages, and that tells Google you did not find what you're looking for on the text. Then at the last page, so if it's page 50, let it go to the very end, and then click the video tab, because Google will then know that you then went to the video tab to find it. Okay. So you want to tell Google that you're trying to find something, but you're Google. You're terrible today. You're not doing anything that I need. Finally, after looking 50 pages back on the video tab, and then Google goes, "Okay, cool. We made you satisfied. We're gonna obviously, we want to make sure we cater to you because nobody else does what you did. So we're gonna take your content that helped you and put it to the top." So there's two equations there, is that your videos are 2 years old, so they have authority because of the years. Mm-hmm. So what you're going to do is you're going to need to implement 6 months of interaction with that video. So after the 6 months, then it'll go, okay, well, you're out of the sandbox, and now you're a top player. So for me, if I were going to compete against somebody one, you could just use HAREF or AREF, or however you want to pronounce it. And you could then find out if they have any backlinks to the
I never figured out how to pronounce that, by the way, but anyhow, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's just a bracket with href.
Okay, href, okay.
Yeah. But, if they have backlinks and social virals and social shares and stuff like that, it's your videos. Yeah. Okay, so you're just going to need to, 2 years ago, Fiverr was, happening, and you could have just done a few thousand backlinks and it'd be game over. So if you have...
Guess how those other 5 videos rank really well.
I know.
Those were the days. Yeah.
Those were the days. So, back then, it was okay, but now the algorithms will then flag it almost instantly because it's new content not going to it. So anything in the past will still rank, but anything in the future is not going to. So what you have to do is find out what is sticking and what's giving the value to your other videos, and then implement that just by a little bit more, 20% more of what you normally do, and you'll be good. No rank way on top of them.
All right. Fun to hear.
Yep, definitely.
Well, Curtis, thank you so much for joining us, because...
this has been great, yeah.
It went in a totally different direction than I ever saw it going, and it was fantastic. So I really, really appreciate that.
Definitely. If you have any questions, or if anybody else has questions, feel free to contact me. I'm here to help and explain and teach.
That's what I've noticed about both you and Terry is you got. I call it the heart of a servant, but
Poor Terry, I should be writing him a check every month because I'm always on something stupid.
And he doesn't mind. Yeah.
We're here to serve, and that's what it comes down to. Why are you alive? For service to humanity. So. What goes around comes around. When you help somebody with just one little incident changes their life, they will come back and they will say, "You've changed my life. Can I make you a cake or something?"
Yeah, right. How about some cookies?
Yes,
and anybody making me a cake, that's always a good thing. I have no problem with that. So.
Yes, or go get me some donuts.
Yeah, I'm doing the low carb, no sugar thing. So
yeah, I do that except for Fridays. Fridays are in and out, or anything I want to go. But otherwise, every other day.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that is actually the perfect way to do it. As I was gaining weight, after the crash of 2009, my doctor kept saying, if you just did it on Friday, ate all those Snickers bars and drank all that beer,
you could recover on the weekends. Going, my stomach's not good.
But I didn't listen to him, so now I'm
no carb, no sugar.
Yeah, I'm not having any fun. No beer. Well, that's a big source of sugar right there.
Yeah, GMO sugar too, for sure.
I've lost.
Well, there you go. Dietary tips.
I've lost 30 pounds so far.
Yes. And actually, to throw mine in there, I actually started. The only thing I did is started to use an app to count calories every day.
There you go.
I have a calorie goal and count calories. I'm not eating anything different. I'm just saying, okay, this is how many's in this. All right, well, make sure that I, and it's much like business.
Sounds like fun too, though.
It kind of is. The thing is, it's much like business. The things that you measure are the things that are important, and the things that are important are the things that are going to happen. Yeah. And literally, just sticking to that, I think mine's a 1,480 calorie diet. I've done it for about 12 days. And in the first 10 days, believe it or not, and I didn't even realize this until 10 days in, I was like, I bet I'd weigh myself and mark it in here. I was down 10 pounds.
Yeah.
It was like 9.4 pounds. And, obviously that's not going to continue at that rapid of a pace, but just, following that and just being aware of what you're eating and how much you're eating is going to be a big part of that and can definitely help with that. I'm not doing the no sugar, and I'm not eating anything different per se, but just kind of monitoring what I'm intaking. And
well, sugar is known to be, since there's a lot of controversy about it. Sugar
suppresses your immune system.
And it's more addictive than any other pharmaceutical or illegal drug you could think of.
When I quit drinking beer, it was no big deal. It was just mostly psychological, and within a week or two, I was over it. Sugar, it was like getting off heroin. They could have come and put me in a jail cell, and I could have curled up in the fetal position on a 1-inch mattress. That's how I felt.
I felt that way too. I was like, give me that donut. I need a donut.
Oh, I love donuts.
I'm in a bit of an enviable position because I don't care about donuts and all that, and I never have. So that's never been an issue for me, which is good. But eating the extra hamburger might be, and that's more the issue for me.
Overconsumption. I've also learned over the past couple of months, my girlfriend's a health fanatic, and she's basically holistic health, and she educated me about juicing. And if you juice green stuff, the reason why juicing is so important, because you're making food that's in micronutrients, and our teeth make the mass, break down the mass, and then our large intestine will then break down the mass into something called macronutrients, and it's like a big, huge, gushy, whatever stuff. And what you're doing with the micronutrients, because your small intestine then breaks down the macros into micros, and what you're essentially saving all that time of your stomach and all that energy, and you're just giving it straight exactly what it needs to absorb. So, and then another key thing is if we're eating GMO stuff or stuff that's been made by GMO or corn syrup or sugar, that stuff damages our gut flora, and our gut flora are like, a circle can only go through a circle, and a triangle can only go through a triangle. So what happens is when you start eating the commercial stuff, what it does is it breaks down your gut flora, which then allows macros for a triangle to go into a circle, because now the circle has a tear. Now you get autoimmune disease, and now you can't get the nutrients from what you normally have, which then you have to go through a 3 to 6 month juicing process for your body to then accept that that's a nutrient, and then, now get back to the whole thing. But, I've implemented it within the past 2 months now, and I've been eating only vegetables and getting my sugars from my fruits, no corn syrup, no, fluoridated water, all this stuff I've cut out, and I've dropped a lot of, body mass as in fat percentage. So, I'm not saying it's good for everybody, but if you just try to implement some vegetables or maybe a juice here and there every week, you'll see your results get quicker. And also, if you're going to the gym, if you eat this stuff, you'll get greater results a lot quicker. I've been noticing as well. So it's repairing an immune system. So calorie counting is good, but it's also about the sugar, carbs, and high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, which that's what I got rid of. Got rid of all three.
Yes, and then
I didn't get rid of the carbs, but it's a low carb.
Yeah, I can't. Carbs are hard to get rid of.
You got to have some carbs, I think. Or,
or
I don't know if you have to have some, but you can't get rid of them all.
I love breakfast burritos, so I can't get rid of carbs.
I like donuts, but I haven't had any. Although, it was weird. On Thanksgiving, I decided I was going to take a break and eat every piece of pie that my in-laws made, and I couldn't eat as much as I thought I was going to eat.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
Yeah, so
all those sweets and stuff, didn't really have a taste for that.
Yeah, I kind of lost my taste for it. Okay, all right. I guess that does it. Ray, did you get all your questions answered?
I think so. This has been quite the episode.
Yeah.
Actually, we've done quite well with this. There's been a lot of great stuff, not only about video, but about business and health and everything in between, and all of it kind of goes together. So you can't can't focus on your business if your body's dying. So
exactly,
it all goes hand in hand. So I greatly appreciate everything that we've talked about today. I know I've learned a ton. All the intricacies that tend to be outside of my normal bailiwick, but certainly important to know.
I even said vector space mathematics.
Vector, yeah, very sophisticated there. I'm going to go tell people at the gym today I did research on vector space mathematics.
I was working on some research on vector space mathematics. See, I can't even say it.
Yeah, I know. Say it fast 3 times.
I'll say it as I'm pushing up my glasses.
There we go. Yeah,
perfect. Well, there you go. That's another week down, and hopefully you guys have picked up a lot of cool stuff today because we've learned a ton. And I hope you wrote it down. If not, hit rewind and start over because we've certainly picked up a lot of interesting stuff today, and especially about ranking videos, which, when you know the secrets, isn't as hard as people think. It used to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Now it's not that hard either. You just have to.
Just takes a lot of discipline.
And not even a lot of discipline. You just have to know the tricks.
Yeah,
and I shouldn't say tricks. That's a bad word to use.
Yeah, well, but I know what you're saying.
Know the techniques.
We try
to be as white hat as we can these days. So
yes,
they're no longer tricks.
It's the online marketing radio show, Video Marketing Madness, with Ray the Video Guy, and I'm Steve Sleeper, and Curtis Melancon's been our guest today with all kinds of great tips for ranking YouTube videos. And today's show made possible by
AWeber, the easy way to do email marketing, create newsletters, sign people up to your list, the all-important list. And if you want to learn more about it, you can head over to raythevideoguy.com/AWeber and learn more there.
And you can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Video Marketing Madness. Get plenty of useful tips and news of the week.
Indeed. And of course, you want to join us on our Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/online video marketers. And guess who's in that group where you can ask questions?
That's right. Curtis is in there.
Yes,
absolutely. And so is Terry. So if you come in there and you've got questions about these types of things, just tag either Curtis or Terry or myself or Steve, and we can usually answer most of your questions. So there you go.
I remember one day in the group somebody did tag you and me, and I said, well, there's people that know way more than me, but let me give you my take. And then Curtis said something, and I said, Curtis, for instance.
Yep. I'd like to thank you guys for letting me be on the show, and then I'm also thanking the people that are also listening, and I hope that some of the stuff that we covered, kind of brings some clarity to a few things.
Absolutely. I definitely think it has. And remember, search mobile.
Search
mobile.
Search mobile.
That's what I learned today, search mobile. So.
Indeed.
Okay, shall we end with the jingle?
We shall end with the jingle.
Yay.
All right.
He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy. His skill is where it's at, even if he's a little fat. He's filled with video expertise and has so much knowledge that you need. His YouTube ninja tricks can make your marketing so sick. He's Ray the Video Guy, yeah, Ray the Video Guy.